So I was on Facebook earlier, and one of those disparaging lists that Christian, well, quote unquote Christian Facebook pages like to post sometimes, uh, you know, it was a list of celebrities that had once professed to be Christian or seemed to, and then seemed to leave Christianity for a different religion. And for some reason they had Anne Rice on there, even though if you really read about what happened to her, she hasn't actually ceased to be a Christian. She just doesn't want to be allied with the Catholic Church anymore. So, you know what I mean? It's on par with saying that Martin Luther isn't really a Christian. It's, you know. But anyway, Julia Roberts appeared on the list simply because she was raised by a Catholic mother and a Baptist father, I think it was. And then she went on to become Hindu, and I think to 2013. And yeah, initially when I read that, my reaction was, why would somebody leave Christianity to become Hindu? Like, what is the important change there, aside from going from one god to many gods? And so I went on to read a little closer at what her reasoning was, and she talked about feeling spiritual peace. And as I went on reading her story, I sort of began to be able to relate to what she was saying, because if I think about the reputation that Christians typically have in society, we aren't a peaceful people typically. We're usually associated with conflict. We're usually associated, even if it's not physical conflict, there's a lot of intellectual snobbery, there's a lot of insistence upon you have to think like me or you're a terrible person. There's a lot of theological debate. There's a lot of evil done in the name of Christianity. There's just so much there that quite reasonably can turn a person away from Christianity in favor of something that enjoys not only a reputation for being more peaceful, but that is taught in a more peaceful way. In that uh, even though it might outwardly seem to a Christian that Hinduism is just a different form of paganism, ritualistically, they really strongly emphasize oneness and, you know, getting yourself into a relaxed state. In Hinduism and in meditation and in yoga, relaxing is an encouraged thing. And in theory, within Christianity, that should be the same. There are many things in the Bible that tell us not to be afraid, to be at peace, to be calm, to be happy, to be contented with what we have. If you think about Jesus when he's in the boat in the storm and he's sleeping, even though there's chaos all around him, it occurred to me today that even before I was really, reading about Julia Roberts, that really, in many ways, Jesus was in a very meditative state. He was calm, he was at peace, he knew where he was within the universe, and he was not fighting, he was not resisting, he was simply accepting his circumstances, and he had a lot to be worried about. He knew he was going to die in a really unpleasant way, and yet he was still sleeping peacefully. And you know, one of the things that I wanted to start to do was to think about how that calm that was in Jesus in that moment is something that we as Christians ought to have access to, and ought to focus on cultivating within ourselves. And in saying this, I'm not stating a new concept. This is something that many preachers will have said by now, and I'm fairly certain I've heard this preached on at least maybe 4 or 5 times in my life, easily. But yeah, within Christianity culturally, we don't really emphasize this enough, I think, because and it matters, because holistically, if you live your life from a place of stress and anxiety and the desire to wage war with everything, you're living with a very different value set and mindset from somebody who is very much about, okay, I know who I am in God. I know, that things are going to be okay. So I'm going to trust in that, and I'm going to focus in on that. And, so long as that is the case, I think it's quite natural that people are going to want to flee Christianity for something like Buddhism or Hinduism. Um, I still confidently believe that the same kind of calm can be found in Christianity if you seek it. Uh, yeah. I think it struck me because I know that Julia, well, in her films and in the things she's had to say for herself, Julia Roberts largely comes across as a very nice sort of person. And of course, naturally, when you hear of someone who has a reputation for being nice, who seems very nice, you naturally want to believe that they're like you. You don't want to believe that they're part of some different philosophy. Um, but as I went on reading her story, I did come to sort of better understand why she ultimately made the choice she did, even if it's a choice that I'm certain I would never make for myself. And, there might be people who hear me say that and think, well, isn't that a bit arrogant? Why is your one god any better than, the many gods of Hinduism or what blah, 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 things like that. That's not the point for me. The point for me is I believe in Jesus as a reality. And I believe that what is taught about him in the Bible is the truth. And so I can't just up and leave. You can't just suddenly pretend that things you believe are true are not, just because somebody is presenting an alternate truth to you. You have to, you know what I mean? I think there's an extent to which you have to be loyal to what you truly believe in. And I don't think I'm, wrong to want that. I think that I'm within my rights, very much so. And, naturally there is a part of me which hopes that one day, maybe Julia Roberts will see that the peace can be found within Christianity, that it's not foreign, that you know she didn't have to flee Christianity for Hinduism in order to find it. I hope that one day she will see that, but even if she doesn't, that's not the point. That shouldn't be the point for any Christian. Really, we shouldn't need these lists of, oh, look at this celebrity who's turned their back on God. I mean, okay, some of the entries on the list kind of made me go, because there were celebrities who were suddenly like, oh, F Jesus, and screw Jesus Christ, and saying things like that just seemed excessive and out of line. And knowing that they think that way now, I kind of do want to be like, all right, I'm going to frame what they say within the context of that, because clearly they are very hostile towards Christianity, and so I can't, you know what I mean? I have to wonder how much of what they do and say is motivated by that contempt. And, for somebody who I know isn't actually hostile towards Christianity, obviously I'm going to be less inclined to assume that the things they're saying are coming from that hostility, and more inclined to trust that they are speaking with the desire to at least coexist peacefully. And to me, it sounds as though Julia Roberts does have that in mind. Um, but still, I don't, yeah, I think the obsession some Christians have with, oh, I want this celebrity to be of the same religion as me, and I want that celebrity to be the same, and I want them to do it the same way I do it, even if we are already of the same religion. Like, it shouldn't matter. Ultimately, your beliefs are your own, and you shouldn't need someone else to vindicate you that way. Like, if you really believe in what you believe in with absolute credence, that, you know what I mean? You shouldn't need anyone's permission to be that way. Uh, you know, I'm 5 minutes from midnight here, so I'm going to want to wind down for the day. But thank you for watching, if you have, and you know, um, take care of yourself. And you know, I'm going to humbly request that if you are looking for calm in your life, maybe you could consider looking into Bible passages on calm. I'm going to look for a reference that I can put in the comment section of this video, and maybe, you know, you can have a look through it if that is what you hope to find. And yeah, take care of yourself. Have a good day or night or whatever it is for you. Bye!